Ah, mortal, welcome to my realm. It is I, Noxus, god of the night, of hunters, and of many other things. If you have clicked on this video, then it is obvious that you would wish to learn more about what I've teased before. You wish to learn about the lands, once called the Imperium. Well, I can teach you all about it. After all, they consider me somewhat of a minor deity there. Perhaps it is best if I start with the surroundings of the Imperium. The Imperium, otherwise known as the Noxian Imperium, is divided into 10 kingdoms under the Emperor of House Noxus, named such because they are considered, by themselves at least, my chosen people. The Noxian Imperium could be divided into 10 kingdoms, each ruled by their own king, otherwise referred to as a Rex by the Noxians themselves. And of course, then you have the mighty Imperator, whom all of them serve. All of them are considered major players in the Imperium, of course, with House Noxus, the royal house being that of the Imperator himself, at the top. The 10 kingdoms that make up the Imperium are Terra Noxus, the homelands of the Noxians themselves, located in the eastern central regions, and is often considered the heartlands of the Imperium, alongside Istanesia, which is located to the west of Terra Noxus. To the east of Terra Noxus, we have Phoenixia, a coalition of multiple militaristic city-states that were conquered early during the onset of the Imperium. They still hold a grudge over having been conquered, but have so far been compliant. To the north of both are the Phoenician Isles, the long-lost brother culture in Terra Noxus. Terra Noxus and the Frisian Isles hold a deep cultural impact on each other. Most consider them brutish, but in reality they are very good wayfarers and seamen. But many just view them as barbarians, which could be farther from the truth. To the west of the Frisian Isles, we have Venetia, a former colony of the Frisian Isles. Valencia eventually grew big enough to break off, wishing to rule over its own, having developed its own culture after having split off from the mainland and the Isles for quite some time. It is relatively unimportant to the rest of the Imperium. Another similar situation as to that of Valencia is Anatole, an island nation that has founded itself and is relatively unimportant to the wider Imperium. It is considered a part of it as the Noxians wish to maintain its land holdings for nothing more out of spite, as they had helped wage a long and brutal war against the Phoenician people, as well as their many protectorates. Sinceria, unlike other island kingdoms of the Western Hemisphere, tends to be important due to its docks and ports, being the second most creator of ships in the Empire compared to others, namely its most known rivals being Istanesia and the Northern Frisian Isles. And then, of course, we have Britannia. As a crusader state against the Rocky Islands, which has been in a long-lost rebellion for like 100 years, maybe longer. To the north of the Britannians, of course, are the Skinbari, a tribal people which refuse to bow to either the Britannians or the Noxian army and their many legions, to the fat point that half of Britannia is technically under control of Skinbari, despite the fact that the Britannians have been trying to take those lands for centuries now. I did say they were landlocked earlier. What I really meant was they would landlock into a state of being against a perpetual revolution against them, or rebellion really against the Empire itself, and the Skimbari, who do not wish to be a part of the Empire and has never been, not actually landlocked. They are an island. And finally, to the south of Estenisia, we have Galania, who try to be special in many ways, including naming their Rex Kaiser, preferring their old ways and traditions over that of the Noxian invaders, who has been in charge of their lands for over 1,000 years now. The Empire itself has been a patchwork of cultures that has been, for the most part, dominated by the Noxian one, as they have effectively taken over the entire mainland and continent with, well, a few hundred years worth of trying. There is also, as well, I should note, the way that the cultures work. I will most likely make a video describing their cultures in full detail, but for now I shall detail the rankings of aristocracy. And those are, in order, Rex, which is, again, the ruler of each independent kingdom, with Phenoxia dividing theirs between 10 of the most dominant houses. Then there is the princes, or princeps, who are often the next in lines of the royal household. And then we have the Imperator himself, who is the Lord Commander of all of the Noxian forces, as well as the many legions of the Empire, and in charge of its federal laws. You see, the Noxian Imperium is, well, decentralized is perhaps the best way to put it, with its capital located on an island to make sure most people cannot invade it. It's strategically located in the center of the Imperium to ensure that it could maintain trade as well as be the logistical and informational heartland of the Imperium. The Imperium, for the most part, is a decentralized mass of centralized kingdoms, which in some of them are decentralized. Some are more centralized than others. Others are more diplomatic and democratically aligned than others. Noxus, for example, or Terra Noxus, as I should say, is mostly a military dictatorship, as it has been the military in charge and has been supporting the ruling class for over 20,000 years at this point, if I remember. My memory is a bit faulty at times. I'm likely to go into more depth later on the houses in charge. The ones you would like to note are House Noxus, which is the ruling house, currently ruled by Magnus VIII. House Vesper of Estenisia, currently led by Lady Diana Regina Lucia Vesper. House Louvblood, led by Conge Eric Lulvod of the Northern Frisian Isles. There is House Wolfblunt, led by Kaiser Alice Wolfblunt. Then there is also Clan Grafemane, led by Chef Sesimus Grafemane. These are just some of the major houses in the Noxian Imperium, and while I would wish to cover them all eventually, in greater, more exquisite detail, this is all I have for now. Now all of you remember, Carpe Diem, seize the day. Live long and prosper. Insert other tagline. Hasta la vista, baby. Goodbye. Remember to like and subscribe if you want more.